When you camp off-grid in some of the out-of-the-way places we do, it's important to get as much solar power as possible. Merlin's solar setup has served us well, but we think we should try to improve it. So what this vlog's about today, it's about my solar panel on Merlin. I'm getting it replaced. Merlin's got a 100 watt panel and I'm replacing it with a 200 watt. The panel that I've got is made by a company called Voltanic, so I ordered that. Yes, it cost me about £130 altogether with the mounting feet to go onto the roof. I was going to get somebody to do this job for me because I didn't really fancy working up on the roof, but my local dealer, they were going to charge me something like £470 and reserve the right that they might have to charge a bit more when they come to do it. So I thought that was quite a lot of money. And there's another guy who's going to do it for me, but he keeps promising he'll come back with a date, but he keeps letting me down on that, so I'm doing it myself. But before I start any of this work, please read this important announcement. Anyway, yesterday I took the panel off, so this is how I got the panel off. Good news for me as I start this job. The weather's set to be really good over the next few days. The existing panel has a wind deflector fitted, which, worryingly, was easy to just lift out. The panel's mounted onto 4 corner feet, and the panel is secured to the feet with Torx self-tapping screws. So I'm going to remove those first. Luckily, it lifted out of the mounts relatively easily. Now I've just got to have a look at the other end. I want to be able to use the same cable that goes from the roof down inside Merlin. The rating of the cable is fine for 200 watts, but unfortunately these connectors are going to have to go. They're the wrong sort. It looks like the existing connectors are the straight inline ones that they just pull apart. I'm going to be using the MC4 connectors on the new panel. Right, I've got it all disconnected now. I'm going to pass it down to Ellie, who's waiting below. Now, there is a possibility that the mounts are secured to the roof with screws as well as Sikaflex. So I want to open the mounts up to see what I'm faced with. Luckily there are no screws at all, but it's going to be quite hard getting these mounts off, and it's all pretty grim as you can see. It needs a damn good clean up. But that's a job for tomorrow. Today's task is all about getting the brackets off of the roof, but they're Sikaflexed on, so I've got to get those off, and cleaning the whole roof up. As you can see, it's a little bit manky underneath the old solar panel. Right, I bought these to help me with the job, to get the Sikaflex off of the the feet that it was already mounted on. It's like a garrote, look at that. So you use it like a saw to cut backwards and forwards. Interesting to see how they work. Well, or rather, interested to see how good they work. That's the old panel that I removed yesterday. And now, it's time to get back up there. I've seen that lubrication can help with the cutting process. It does cut okay, but the difficulty is keeping the blade low enough. It keeps coming up and cutting through the plastic, which isn't what you want. This isn't going too well. I'm calling these cutters a bit of a failure. I need to resort to a bit of brute force. In the end, I'm using various tools: screwdrivers, paint strippers, trim remover, and a hammer. It's all pretty hard work, really.
What you doing?
Just sweeping up the mess I made.
You're not making a mess of my van roof, are you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit awkward, really.
Just taking him up a nice cup of tea.
Yeah.
Keep him going. Have to get the whip out.
I did originally want to remove all of the old Sikaflex. Right, I've made a decision. Trying to get this old Sikaflex off is really hard. As you can see here, I've damaged the roof a little bit. That's going to need to be painted. That is the only real damage that I've done. So I've decided that I'm going to leave the Sikaflex there. Where the Sikaflex is, in fact, is going to be underneath the new panel. So it's really not going to be a problem. Just got to get these front two off now. These are so tough to remove. I defy anybody to tell me that Sikaflexing a solar panel onto the roof is not a safe way of doing it. They ain't going to come off easily. Well, that's the third one off. Just one more to do now. I'm getting quicker. I've refined my technique. Well, that's the last one off now. Just got to clean the roof up a little bit, and of course paint where I've damaged it. Now you see it, and now you don't. Right, my next task is to clean off the roof so that I can prepare it to mount the new solar panel. So this is the state of the roof at the moment. Right, that's looking a lot better. Just got to do the other side now. I don't think I've said before, but I am also going to be putting a safety tether onto the panel. That's what I'm hoping to tie the tethers to. just in case of the panels coming adrift. That should give somewhere nice and strong to catch them if they fly off the roof, which I don't think they will. Right, that should do for the general clean. Now what I've got to do is to get the panel up here into position and mark it on the roof with masking tape. But before I do that, I've got some work to do on the panels. I've got to put the feet, let me show you, I've got to put the feet or the mounts onto the solar panel. That's the solar panel, so I've just got to mount those feet on the corners. And that's how they fit. I've got a screw in through there. I'm just drilling a pilot hole for the self-tapping screws. They give you self-tapping screws for these. They're a little bit difficult to get started. You have to push them in really hard. But once you've got them started, they're okay. The panel itself is quite soft metal, so you do have to be a bit careful that you don't over-tighten them. Just hoovering out all the bits of swarf. Right, that's one on. I'm not going to show you how I fitted the other mounts, as basically it was the same as the first one. So the panel is now complete and ready to go on the roof. This is what it looks like when it's the right way up. I didn't know at this point that I had made a fundamental mistake that I was going to have to correct later. So what have I got to do now? Lift the panel up onto the roof, get the position, and I'll mark that up with masking tape. Then I need to prepare the area where the feet are going to sit, the mounts are going to sit on the roof rather. And I just need to rough them up with a bit of sandpaper, something like that, just to make the adhesive bond a bit better. Then I'm going to have to rejoin the connectors, because the connectors that are on the roof at the moment are the wrong sort. They won't connect onto the panel. So I bought a kit for putting the correct ones on. I'll show you those when I do it. Yeah, that's all I'm doing today now. Now, this is what I got wrong. There is no space for the corner mount up close to this roof light. It's far too tight to fit there. I don't want to mount it with just 3 feet. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about this. It's a real worry actually. I can't move the panel along the roof because there's another roof light at the other end. I had to get in touch with the people at Voltanic, who were very helpful and suggested this solution. So I had to remove that particular corner, and I bought 2 side mounts. So now I have 3 corners and 2 side mounts. The side mounts were £12 for the pair. Combined, there is more mounting area than previously intended, so I'm happy about that. I've now gone round and marked up each mounting point with masking tape, so that when we lift the panel on finally, we can place it quickly and accurately. It also gives me positioning on which parts need rubbing down. I'm trying to make sure that the Sikaflex that I'm going to be using has every chance of sticking very well. I obviously don't want the panel flying off the roof when I'm going along the motorway at 70 miles an hour. Basically, I'm just trying to remove the high gloss of the paint. Then I've got to wipe it down. And then I'm going to apply some methylated spirits to clean it up. After cleaning up the mounting points, it just really needs me now to cover up the little bits of scratching that I did on the roof so that the bare metal is not exposed. I'm using Hammerite metal paint for this. Doesn't really matter what it looks like because this is going to be under the new panel. I'm now putting the new style MC4 connectors onto the original wiring so that it will connect onto the new solar panel. These connectors are waterproof and in fact UV resistant for up to 25 years. So at my age they should see me through. Fixing these connectors is not too difficult. I did watch a YouTube video on it. You've just got to get everything in the right order and don't forget to put the back nuts on first. And you do have to be careful, there are male parts and female parts that are not interchangeable. This part has to be crimped on, which would be dead handy if you had 3 hands for this job. But I got there in the end. Give it a good pull to make sure it's on nice and tight. They give you this tool to tighten the nuts up, and you have to turn it so that it clicks twice, evidently. My technique's not the best, but I got there in the end. I'm using Sikaflex 554, which is the recommended product. It's excellent stuff. It is expensive though. I paid £30 for 1 tube. I purchased 2 tubes, but I only needed 1, so I was able to send the other one back. As you can see, I'm putting the adhesive on before I lift it onto the roof. Lifting the panel onto the roof is a 2-man job. I didn't really want Ellie up a ladder, so my son-in-law Jack is going to help me. We've got a ladder either side, so we can position it from both sides. We've got it lifted on now, all positioned against the masking tape. So we've got the sealer underneath the joints, the feet rather. The next part of the job that I've got to do is to remove the masking tape and then put a further fillet of Sikaflex around each mount. That'll make it stronger, makes it look better as well. And the final part of the roof work is to add the security tether. I have one of these on each side, hopefully never to be needed. They're attached to the existing roof rack fittings. It's recommended to allow the adhesive to cure that you give it at least 24 hours before you drive the van. I'm going to give it a couple of days at least. So I've gone from this 100-watt panel to the new 200-watt panel. The total cost, including the extra mounts, Sikaflex and the electrical connector kit, is around about £200. I need to do some long-term testing, but the initial results show good numbers on the Victron MPPT, and it's keeping the new Fogstar battery nicely topped up. The worst part of the job was getting the old mounts off, but other than that it was very straightforward. I'm very pleased with the results. Job done. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.